Welcome back to the Takeout. It's Climate Week, and that issue taking on more significance and getting a lot more attention after President Trump used his UN address to take some off-ramps and attack all efforts globally to consider or combat climate change. Listen.
It's climate change. Is it goes higher or lower? Whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. The carbon footprint is a hoax made up by people with evil intentions.
Joining me now, former Democratic governor in the state of Washington, Jay Inslee. He is the head of the accountability project, The Cost of Trump, for an organization called Climate Power. Governor, it's great to see you, as always. You heard the speech. The floor is yours.
Well, listen, when you've been a governor who's seen whole towns burn down in my state because of climate-induced forest fires, when you've talked to families whose homes have been repeatedly flooded because of these deluges, when you see the children who lost their lives in the Texas flooding, when you know that virtually everywhere in the United States we now are being impacted by this horrendous beast, to see an American president of the country that sent a man to the moon be so oblivious, so ludicrously ignorant about the clear science, it's really shocking on a personal basis. Look, I've talked to these families who are standing in the ashes of their home caused by these massive forest fires that we're experiencing. Los Angeles was not the only one. It's a sad day for the country, and frankly, it's embarrassing. But you know, it's interesting, but the cost of this ignorance is a cost for our pocketbooks as well, because this man is causing us to have rapidly expanding electrical rates all across the country because he's choking off the source of clean energy and making it so that we have higher electrical prices. These $100 spikes in electrical prices are caused because of his ridiculous conspiracy to be in bed with the fossil fuel industry and take care of his buddies who've given him billions or millions of dollars of campaign contributions. So in many respects, it's a sad day for America, but the good news, Americans are innovative, optimistic people. This is a speed bump. We're going to get through this as soon as we can.
Governor, Energy Secretary Chris Wright was on CBS Mornings Plus today, and he announced that his department is returning $13 billion that had been slated for green energy subsidies. Here's how he described and defended that move. I want you to listen.
With solar and wind and electric vehicles, which is where most of the money has gone, they've just barely gotten to 3% of United States energy and 2.5% of global energy. So it's just been a massive malinvestment. We've made electricity more expensive. We've pushed industries and jobs out of our country, haven't moved the needle on global greenhouse gas emissions. It has been, as the president said, I think he rightfully characterizes it as a scam.
Jay, you just heard him say green energy raises utility prices, sends jobs out of the country. That's exactly opposite what you just told me. So I want you to respond.
I have never heard a bunch of more baloney coming out of a secretary in American history. Look, 90%, over 90% of the new energy that has been developed in the last 3 or 4 years has been clean energy. And the reason for this is that new sources of energy, solar and wind, and also advanced battery, is cheaper than coal power, cheaper with a capital C. I don't know what it is that these people don't understand. Here's what I understand. They're just trying to protect their buddies who's given them millions of dollars. Solar and wind is cheaper than coal, and in many cases, in most cases, in gas in this country. So strictly on an economic basis, what they are doing is taking away the cheaper energy by canceling these wind turbine projects that are like 80 or 90% complete. What could be dumber economically than stopping something that's already 80% complete? And that's including in the Northwest, where they've taken away our wind power projects that are more competitive. And the people who are getting an advantage of this idiocy are, frankly, China, because these are jobs that we ought to have here in building these new energy technologies. We have two of the most advanced battery companies in the world in Washington State. We want to build these jobs here, but in fact, he is sending them to China. So the facts are stubborn things, and the fact is that 90% of the new energy, because we have cheap energy and renewable energy is because of the economics of this circumstances. Forgetting for the moment that the polluting industries are causing massive health impacts. Listen, I met a 12-year-old girl a few years ago who said that she didn't know some kids didn't have asthma because she's living close to a freeway. This is a health issue. It is an economic issue and is a generational morality issue that we owe our kids better than this. So for many respects, but here's the good news, states can move. My state has moved. We've adopted the Climate Commitment Act. It was affirmed by a 62 to 38% landslide last year, even though the fossil fuel industry went after it. The states are making progress here. All is not lost. We're moving forward in my state and about 24 other states.
As he frequently does, Jay Inslee name checks Washington as often as he possibly can. Former governor, Democrat from Washington. Jay, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for your time.
You bet. Be well.